My fiancée said, "I don't want your family at our wedding. They're too basic." I replied, "Understood." Then I canceled the wedding, sent her a breakup cake, and booked a cruise with my family instead. Now she is demanding compensation and threatening to sue me. I, 30 am, or rather was, engaged to Stephanie, 30. We've been together 4 years. I thought they were 4 good years. I see now that they were 4 years of auditioning, and apparently I failed the final callback. The wedding planning has been a thing, mostly driven by Stephanie and her mother Sharon, a woman who looks at a menu like it's personally insulted her. My involvement was mostly to nod and enter my credit card information. The main venue, a renovated barn thing that costs more than a decent sedan, was paid for with my savings. My one request was that we have a specific local band play for a couple of hours because they were my late grandfather's favorite. Cheesy, I know, but it was important to me. Last Tuesday, Stephanie sat me down for what she called a logistics and optics conversation. That should have been my first clue. She had a leather-bound notebook and a pen that probably had a name. She cleared her throat. "Jason," she started, not looking at me, "I've been running the numbers and visualizing the day, and we need to make a few final tweaks to the guest list." "Okay," I said. "Are we over capacity?" "No, in terms of numbers, in terms of cohesion." She finally looked up, her expression the same one she uses when a waiter brings her the wrong kind of sparkling water. "I don't want your family at our wedding." I honestly thought I'd misheard. "You mean like my second cousins? My great-aunt Carol who always smells like mothballs?" "No," she said, her voice perfectly even. "I mean your parents and your sister." I just stared at her. My dad, a retired mechanic who can fix anything and tells the worst jokes. My mom, a nurse who makes the best lasagna on the planet. My sister, a vet tech who has fostered more stray animals than I can count. "They're just too basic," she said, wrinkling her nose as if she'd found a bug in her salad. "My family are friends. They're from a different world. My mother is worried about the clash. We're trying to cultivate a certain elegance. Your father telling stories about changing a carburetor isn't going to fit." I waited for the punchline. For the gotcha, it never came. This was it. This was the negotiation. My family for her elegance. My blood didn't boil, it turned to ice. All the little things from the past 4 years suddenly clicked into place. The way she'd correct my grammar in front of her friends. The helpful suggestions that I should trade in my reliable car for something European. The way she always referred to my family's home as quaint. It wasn't a partnership, it was a renovation project. And my family was the original crown molding she wanted to rip out and replace with something sleek and empty. I looked at her, at this woman I thought I knew, and I felt nothing but a profound, chilling clarity. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't plead, I just said, "Understood." She smiled, visibly relieved. "Oh good, I knew you'd see it my way. It's for the best. It's our day after all." I nodded, got up, and went to my home office. I was supposed to be paying the deposit for the caterer. Instead, I opened my laptop, emailed to the venue. "Dear venue coordinator, please be advised that we are canceling the wedding of Jason R. and Stephanie S., scheduled for September 14th. As per our contract, I understand the deposit is non-refundable. Please confirm cancellation. Regards, Jason R." Email to the band. "Hi guys, change of plans. The wedding is off, but I'd like to know your availability for a private party in late September. And can you play Blue Suede Shoes twice?" Website open, a 7-day Caribbean cruise. I booked 4 tickets, 1 for me, 1 for my sister, and 2 for my basic parents. The confirmation email felt warmer than Stephanie's hug ever did. Final tab, a local bakery. I ordered a white 2-tiered cake. For the inscription, I wrote, "Bon voyage." I had it delivered to our apartment for the next afternoon. I slept on the couch. The next morning, I packed a bag while she was at her spin class. When she got home, I was sitting on the couch with my duffel bag at my feet. She was still flushed and glowing. "What's this?" she asked, gesturing to my bag. "I'm going to my parents for a bit," I said. Just then her phone buzzed. It was the cancellation confirmation from the venue. Her face went slack. "What is this? Did you do this, Jason? Is this a joke?" "I understood," I said, repeating my line from the night before. "I understood that you see my family as disposable. I understood that you value optics more than people. and I understood that I was making the biggest mistake of my life. The doorbell rang. It was the cake. I brought it in and set it on the coffee table. She stared at the bon voyage written in cheerful blue icing. "I canceled the wedding," I said calmly. "And I'm breaking up with you. The cruise I booked for our honeymoon is now a family trip. For my family, the basic one." The mask fell. Her face contorted into a snarl I'd never seen before. "You can't do this. I've paid for the dress, the flowers. My parents put down a deposit for the rehearsal dinner. You owe me. You will pay for this." I walked to the door. "Actually," I said, "I won't." Now she's blowing up my phone. Dozens of texts and voicemails. She's gone from crying to screaming to threatening. This morning's text was an all-caps masterpiece claiming I owe her for emotional distress, non-refundable wedding expenses, and reputational damage. She says her father, Edward, a corporate tax attorney, is drafting a lawsuit. So, for how I handled it? Maybe. But, I'm too busy looking at shore excursions to really care. Update 1. 2 weeks later. Well, folks, it's been an eventful fortnight. I wish I could say Stephanie's threats were just hot air, but it turns out entitled people are nothing if not persistent. They mistake tenacity for being right. First, the lawsuit. It's real. A thick envelope arrived via certified mail. It's a small claims court filing, and it's a masterclass in creative grievance. Edward's legal mind has clearly been at work, twisting things. She's suing me on the grounds of promissory estoppel and unjust enrichment, claiming she spent thousands in good faith based on my promise to marry, and it would be unjust for her to bear those costs alone. It's a fancy way of saying, pay for my dress. The itemized list is glorious. The non-refundable deposit on her custom wedding dress, $4,000. Deposits for the florist, photographer, and her makeup artist, totaling $3,500. A nebulous claim for emotional distress and public humiliation. The total is just shy of the small claims maximum. She conveniently forgot to mention that the single largest expense, the venue, was paid for by me and is a loss I've already eaten. But here's where they showed their strategic hand. Last Monday, I got an urgent meeting request from my boss, Ronald. I walk in and he looks uncomfortable. "Jason," he says, "I got a call this morning from Edward S. Stephanie's father." My stomach clenched, but I kept my face neutral. Ronald continues. "He said he was deeply concerned about your erratic and unstable behavior recently. He mentioned the canceled wedding and implied that you were having some sort of breakdown that might impact your work and by extension the company's reputation." It was a beautiful move. Not a direct threat, just a concerned phone call designed to put me on a professional defensive. This is where my calm approach paid off. Panicking would have validated Edward's narrative. Instead, I took a deep breath. "Ronald," I said, "I'm glad you brought this to me. My ex-fiancée and I are having a contentious breakup. Her father is attempting to leverage his position to intimidate me. The erratic behavior he's referring to was me canceling our wedding after she informed me my family was not welcome." Then I went to HR. I created a paper trail. I explained that an external party was attempting to interfere with my employment due to a personal dispute. I framed it as protecting the company from potential future meddling. Bureaucracy, my friends, can be a beautiful shield. The second front is the apartment. Our lease is up in 3 months, and I am the primary leaseholder. I sent Stephanie a formal, notarized letter giving her 30 days' notice to vacate the premises, as is my legal right. Her response was a text, "LOL, try and make me leave." The apartment has become a cold war zone. She started leaving passive-aggressive notes everywhere. It's psychological warfare, amateur hour edition. A couple of our mutual friends, Jeffrey and Rebecca, called me. I didn't badmouth Stephanie, I just forwarded them the screenshot of the basic text exchange. The response from Jeffrey 10 minutes later said it all. "Wow, okay, never mind." So, the plan is simple. Prepare for court with facts, not feelings. And document everything Stephanie does in the apartment. If she's not out in 30 days, I'll start the formal eviction process. Update 2. 3 weeks later. The countdown to the cruise is on. T-6 days. My sanity is holding on by a thread, but that thread is made of Kevlar. The apartment situation devolved exactly as you'd expect. Stephanie's strategy was to be the worst possible roommate, hoping I'd pay her to leave. It was a war of attrition. I didn't engage. I just took date-stamped photos and sent a polite, recorded delivery letter to our landlord outlining the situation, just to have it on record. But the main event came, once again, from Daddy Dearest. Edward is not a man who likes to lose. His attempt to paint me as unstable at my job failed, so he escalated. I got a strange call last week. It was from the fraud prevention department at my bank. "Mr. R," the woman said, "we're calling to verify a recent credit inquiry. Our systems flagged an inquiry from a mortgage underwriter that appears to be unauthorized. Can you confirm you are currently applying for a home loan?" My blood ran cold. "No," I said, "I am absolutely not." She explained that someone had used their system to pull my full credit report. Because it wasn't tied to any application from me, their compliance software flagged it. And who is a top partner at a firm that has this major lender as a huge client? Edward S. He couldn't get me fired, so he decided to see if he could financially kneecap me. This was a major escalation, a potentially illegal one. But his arrogance made him sloppy. The bank's automated system did its job. The woman on the phone was cautious but clear. "We cannot disclose details of our internal investigation," she said, "but we can confirm an unauthorized inquiry was made on your file. We have taken internal corrective action. We can issue you a formal letter confirming the date and nature of this unauthorized inquiry for your records." I asked for the letter. It was another piece of paper for my folder, a folder labeled "Pattern of Harassment." Last night, Stephanie finally moved out. I don't think she could stand me not reacting to her provocations. She must have realized I would actually file for eviction the day her notice period was up, and decided to leave before it got that far. I came home to find her things gone, and a few of mine. A high-end sound system and, bizarrely, a framed map of my city that was a gift from my sister. Her final salvo was an email, oozing self-justification. "Since you've left me with all these bills from the wedding we were supposed to have, I've taken the sound system and the map to help cover what you owe me. When you're ready to pay the rest, you can have them back." It wasn't a confession of theft in her mind. It was a righteous claim. But in the eyes of the law, it's the same thing. I took a deep breath, photographed the empty spaces, and filed a police report for theft, attaching a printout of her email. My sister called. "Are you okay?" she asked. "This is insane." "Honestly," I said, looking at my packed suitcase, "I'm exhausted, but I feel clean." Next stop, the Caribbean. Then a date in court. Final update. 1 month later, hello from the other side. The salt water has been washed from my hair, the faint tan line is fading, and the drama, for the most part, is over. The cruise was exactly what my soul needed. Seeing my mom get giddy about seeing a dolphin, watching my dad dominate trivia night, it wasn't basic. It was real. Standing on the deck with them, I almost laughed out loud at the absurdity of Stephanie's demand. She hadn't just insulted them, she'd revealed she had no concept of what genuine happiness even looks like. Then came the court date. Team Stephanie was there in force, her, Sharon, and Edward, all radiating smug confidence. Then there was me, alone, with a simple, neatly organized accordion folder. Stephanie presented her case, spinning a tale of her emotional and financial investment in our shared future. She presented her receipts. Her lawyerly father had coached her well. Then it was my turn. The judge, a tired-looking woman who had clearly heard it all, sighed and said, "Mr. R, your response?" I stood up and kept it simple. "Your Honor," I began, "I do not dispute that the wedding was canceled. I canceled it. The question is why." I handed the clerk Exhibit A, a printout of a text message from Miss S, received 2 days before the cancellation, stating that my parents and sister were too basic to be allowed to attend our wedding. The judge read it. Her eyebrow shot up. I continued, "The largest single expense, the venue deposit of $10,000, was paid by me. I absorbed that loss. Miss S's financial commitments were with her vendors, not me. Her claim of unjust enrichment is voided by the fact that she was the one who fundamentally breached the good faith agreement of our engagement." I saw Edward whisper something to Stephanie. She was starting to look less confident. "But the issue goes beyond the wedding," I said. "After the breakup, I was subjected to a campaign of harassment designed to pressure me." I handed the clerk my next documents. Exhibit B is a summary from my employer's HR file, documenting a phone call from Mr. S attempting to interfere with my employment. Exhibit C is a formal letter from my bank confirming an unauthorized and improper inquiry into my personal finances, an action taken after Mr. S's first attempt at intimidation failed. The judge's expression hardened as she read the bank letter. She looked over at Edward, whose face had gone pale. He had leveraged his power, and I had simply leveraged the system's ability to document it. Finally, I said, regarding Miss S's attempt to recoup costs by other means, Exhibit D is a police report I filed for theft of my property, and Exhibit E is an email from Miss S herself admitting she took the items as collateral for this perceived debt. I rested my case. The judge looked from me to Stephanie. Miss S, is this text message authentic? Stephanie stammered. We were trying to curate, it was a discussion. The judge wasn't having it. She dismissed the entire case. She told Stephanie that broken engagements are a shared risk and that her claims were baseless, especially in light of her profound show of disrespect to the plaintiff's family. She then looked pointedly at Edward and said that the evidence of harassment was deeply troubling and that I was well within my rights to pursue those matters in a different venue. The fallout was quiet but absolute. Legal. Stephanie got nothing. A police officer made a friendly call about the theft report, and my property was returned the next day. She was out all her deposit money. Professional. I don't know what happened inside Edward's world, but that kind of documented overreach, the HR complaint, the bank inquiry, leaves a mark on a reputation built on untouchable influence. Social. The court's judgment solidified the real story. Stephanie and her family were exposed not as victims, but as what they were. Classist, manipulative people who lost a game of chicken they started. I live in a new apartment now. It's smaller, but it's all mine. I'm not dating. I'm just enjoying the peace. I heard Stephanie is still furious, telling anyone who will listen how I ruined her life. She never learned a thing. Some people never do. They're just part of a story I tell now. A story about a close call and a good cruise. Turns out my basic, family, and I clean up pretty well on a formal night at sea. Who knew?